Pouring your emotion into your art is one of the best things that you will ever do as an artist. The most impactful things, the most inspiring things, the most heartfelt things that you will ever release will be things that were true to you. Whether that's you going through a heartbreak, whether that's you making money, whether that's, you achieving a certain thing, whatever you talk about in your music, right? When you're reflecting on things that's true to you, when you're reflecting on what you're actually feeling in those moments, truthfully, unfiltered, raw, authentically, the way that you articulate and the way that the viewer, listener perceives what you're saying, grasps what you're saying, will change entirely. When you're speaking upon your emotion, when you're speaking upon the things that you're feeling, typically it has a very good way of connecting with other people who feel the same way. Emotions is a very universal experience. Nothing that you're going through and nothing that you're feeling is something that somebody else probably also hasn't went through. So you being able to articulate and express your emotions, express your point of view, express the things that you're going through is what's going to allow you to connect to the people around you, connect to the people that's your target audience, in other words. If you don't show no emotion, if you don't show the depths of you, it's going to be very hard to penetrate the depths and emotions in other people. And as artists, you guys should be aiming to have an emotional connection with the people who's listening to your music. You don't want them to just turn it on as just to fill space or just to blow time. You want them to turn on your music and really listen to what you're saying. You want them to turn on your music and they feel something. It ignites something in them. Whether that's to heal, inspiration, motivation, love, whatever frequency you're putting into your music, you want them to immediately be captured by it. And the best way to do that usually is by storytelling and composing the music, composing the lyrics, composing the piece in a way that's a self-expression, composing everything in a way where it's articulating the depths of who you are. If you feel sad, make some sad music. Make some music that represents exactly how you feel. Make lyrics that represent exactly how you feel. Right? Get poetic with it. Make it sound nice. Really have fun with it. Implement your creativity. It's kind of like a strong suit when you can implement your creativity and emotion. Implementing creativity and emotion into one package is the ultimate key to success, because your emotions is what's going to allow you to connect to people. Your emotions is what's going to give you that ability to really touch somebody. Now, your creativity is what gives you that uniqueness that makes you stand out. To be like, I felt this emotion, but this person made me feel that emotion. It was how they did it. It was the music they had. It was how they said it. It was their articulation. Your creativity and emotion put in one package will usually get you the results you want. And it's kind of like we have to release this fear of not being good enough as an artist, because sometimes the reason why we don't show our most authentic selves, the reason why we don't show our truest beings, is because we think that if we show who we truly are, we won't be accepted. We think we have to put up an image, or we think we have to show a certain persona in order for the people around us to accept us. And a lot of that stuff is learned from childhood, learning how to blend into your environments, different friend groups, etc. But once you grow up and you get into adulthood, or at least into certain levels of artistry, you have to embrace that uniqueness. It's no longer about fitting in, it's about standing out as an artist. So all of that old memories, all of those old patterns, and all of those old ways of thinking where you think you have to act a certain way, do a certain thing, and just put yourself in a certain box in order to be loved by the people around you, you're actually prohibiting yourself from being loved, because uniqueness is like a blessing. It's a beauty. in this space. Once you get into the flow of just putting yourself out there in your truest form, you will realize that you are probably better than you ever thought you were, right? A lot of our self-limiting beliefs is causing us to hide parts of ourselves that if you were to immediately bring it to surface, you will see the fruits from it. You will see the rewards from it. But our own self-limiting beliefs, our own traumatic experiences, our own perspectives on life will prohibit you from moving forward, will prohibit you from finding a sense of connection with whoever you're trying to connect with. If you're trying to connect with, dudes who love video games, at some point in time, you have to exhibit that type of headspace, right? You have to show video games. At some point, you have to talk about video games. At some point, you have to do something gaming related. And by you doing that, you're going to inevitably attract people who like gaming. It's all just like the law of reciprocity. Whatever you put out, you're going to get back. If you put your truest, authentic self out there, you're going to attract people who also value and probably have went through something very similar to your truest, authentic self. You're only going to attract people who are able to meet you at the level that you're showing. In other words, right? If you're only showing 20% of yourself, you're only going to meet people who are cohesive with that 20%. The moment you start showing 50%, you're going to see people who are cohesive with that 50%. All of your life and everything around you is an exhibit of what you're showing, how you're showing it, and the intention behind it. If you're hiding your best qualities, if you're hiding your deep stories, the things that really spark emotion within you, you're holding yourself back from a whole nother reality. Think about it. If it sparked something within you, if it made you feel really deeply, if it made you really go into a deep sense of healing, growth, introspection, whatever it was, it has that same pull in somebody else. It has that same level of impact in somebody else. You have to acknowledge that if it's something that you're going through, somebody else needs it. So you can't be afraid of putting yourself out there and thinking that you're not going to be accepted, because I'm trying to tell you guys, the thing that you think if you put out there you won't be accepted may be the one thing that if you put out there, they will accept you. Don't exit yourself out before you try something. You don't get into this routine of saying something isn't for you, something doesn't work, yada, 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 before you even give it a try. You have to see first. And then over time, creating starts to feel like therapy. Because whenever you're going through something that you don't know how to express vocally or to your peers, family, relationship, you put all of that energy into creating. You allow your art form, you allow your music, your lyrics, your art to be the way that you bond, to be the way that you express, to be the way that you release. My papa told me, if you don't have nobody to talk to the paper. He's a writer. So that perspective can be implemented with anything. If you feel as if you just feel alone, you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have no outlet, give it to your art, give it to your craft, and you will see immediately the fruits from that. There's almost like a spiritual reward that comes when you indulge in creativity. When you give a piece of yourself to something creative, you always get a reward somehow, right? For some people that is financially, other people that is love, connection, enjoyment, their own sense of personal fulfillment. You always get the fruits whenever you exhibit a sense of vulnerability and authenticity while creating. Because the moment you mix authenticity and creation, that is a pure exhibit of love and God, because it is unique to you. So, without further ado, you guys, I love y'all. It's been Jay, aka Siblings VFX. This is another episode of the Just Rapping Podcast. And I love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. We on these daily uploads for y'all. I'm gonna keep it up.